Good evening. It is Friday, January 9th, 2026. I'm standing on Knowlton Creek Boulevard, maybe half a mile west of 85th Avenue West. Continuing with the Monitors project of visiting all the parks in the city, from smallest to largest. We started at park number 162, and we have now worked our way up to park number 3. At 1,116.52 acres, it is Spirit Mountain. And that is the ski hill up there. I am going to be walking up the Superior Hiking Trail in the middle of the night. It's about 7:30 at night. There's a... well, you can't even see. There's the post. Superior Hiking Trail follows Knowlton Creek, which is over there. And at least down in this part, we're immediately adjacent to the bottom of the ski hill. Spirit Mountain Recreation Area was established in 1973. Trail seems pretty well packed. Turn on my flashlight here. Never thought to use that with the camera before. Only 2 more parks left after this one. Then I can write an article about my findings. I'm something of an expert on Spirit Mountain. I've been attending board meetings here since 2008. Over 150 meetings last time I checked. Could be 160 or 70 by this time that I've attended. Yeah, interesting feature. Those hills there in the springtime when the snow melts, those hills linger after everything else is melted. So you got those big hills sitting in the middle of sometimes 70, 80 degree day even in May. You'll still see those hills there. I just felt like coming out and walking. had a frustrating email back in October. St. Louis County Commissioner Keith Nelson cursed me out after a meeting when I was asking him some questions. So I filed a complaint against him. Today I got the letter from the county that the investigation is done. And that's it. They're not going to tell me what the outcome of it was. They're just going to tell me it's done. And the reason for that is a few years ago, the county board voted that investigations into themselves would be treated as if they were employees and would not be disclosed to the public. So, very frustrating. Thought I'd come and walk up a hill. I mean, it's nice, really nice to know that commissioners can just curse at anybody and suffer no consequences. It really makes me happy. I bet if I cursed at them, I'd be getting lectured, trespassed, who knows what. He was also saying other things at the following meeting, during the meeting, attacking me personally. That was in my complaint too. Now the investigation into that is closed. The letter said they take these complaints very seriously. The only problem was they finished the investigation on December 19th. But the guy who was supposed to send it to me left it in his draft folder for 3 weeks. Apparently forgot about it. Finally sent it on today. I can tell they're really taking it seriously. It's really front of mind, I can tell that. Rather steep climb here. Not surprisingly, since we're basically climbing up a ski hill. So pardon the panting.
whenever I'm walking up steep hills, breathing heavily, I think of all that inhaled oxygen as stoking the fire inside. Walton Creek's quite a ways down there now. I have quite a bit to say about Spirit Mountain. Fortunately, right now I have to save my breath. I expect I have attended more meetings here than anyone. I hold the world record. More board meetings, I should say. I'm sure the employees have had plenty of meetings amongst themselves about things. You can see the lights of Superior through there. Lights of the hill over there. This is quite a nice scenic walk during the day. You'll have to take my word for it, I guess. I can hear Knowlton Creek flowing down there. Still isn't frozen. Middle of January, still isn't frozen. I really don't live my life on any kind of, certainly not a business schedule. It's just like if I feel like doing something, I go do it. It aggravates me a little bit that a lot of people aren't in the office on the weekends because I'm working on stuff and I need comment. I need people to provide input. And they have the gall to be out of the office merely because it's some certain day of the week. Very aggravating. So I felt like taking a walk here and so people get to enjoy a nighttime walk, I guess. I took a middle of the night walk one time in Glacier Park. Much younger days. I was 20, I think. A bunch of my friends were camping out, but I had to work. So I worked, finished my shift, drove 50 miles to where the trailhead was. By that time it was after midnight. And I was worried about bears, grizzly bears in Glacier, so I brought my little boombox with me, played music, walking up through the mountains in the middle of the night. It's about a 3-mile hike. I did find everybody camped out, and they were very surprised to be awakened in the middle of the night by a little concert. So there's this trail, kind of goes across the hill. If you follow that out there, well, I'm not sure if this is the one. There's a few. One of these, if you follow it out, you actually get to the ski hill. And that is Old Skyline Parkway, actually. I don't think this is it, though. As you can see, we've kind of left the ski hill behind. It's off that way, but we're sort of trending away from it now. This is a very large recreation area. Above Skyline, there's also a considerable amount of Spirit Mountain recreation area. Nordic ski trails and snowmobile trails and just woods. Okay, this right here I think is Old Skyline Parkway. Once Spirit Mountain was created in 1973, and they built a ski hill there. They closed off that part of Old Skyline Parkway, rerouted it around the top. But the roadbed still remains, and you can see it's used as a snowmobile trail now. So I can go that way. Let me see here. I think the Lake Superior hiking trail goes up the hill somewhere around here. Unless it's over this way. Not sure exactly. Well, I'll just go this way. So that's another way you can come up. There's it's more of an old road and used as a snowmobile trail. Comes up that side of Knowlton Creek. And then there's lots of trails up there. That's a pretty cool area up there. Oh, okay, okay, here's where Superior Hiking Trail goes up, right here. You can take a more gradual route that way, or you can go more directly up the hill this way. Sometimes in the summer, when I have board meetings to go to, man, why does it keep blurring out like that? There. I'll park at the bottom of the hill. Take a nice leisurely afternoon stroll up to the chalet where the meetings are. And then head back onto my car, usually via a different route afterwards. Spirit Mountain has had its share of controversy over the years. Generally around finances. The city's had to bail them out many times. Sort of the accepted narrative now is that the previous executive director didn't run it very well, but I disagree with that. She was battling a stacked deck. It was the one prior to her, in particular, that created all the problems. Renee Matson. Oh, she hated me. So, back in 08 or 09, Renee Matson and some community leaders developed Spirit Mountain Master Plan, which laid out very ambitious expansion plans. Back then, there was no chalet off of Grand Avenue. There was no zip line. There was no alpine coaster. There wasn't a lot of what we have now. And they had the great idea that we're going to expand, build all these things. And to help finance that, at that time the city was providing them $225,000 subsidy to be used for capital expenditures and capital maintenance. Well, they wanted to use that maintenance money to start their expansion, to start building an alpine coaster. And so they just got the city to agree to that. And at that time, I didn't have a paper or anything. I had a blog, the cheerleader blog. And I wrote a post about it saying the purpose of this money, as stated in legislation, is for maintenance, not to build a new ride. And that actually got picked up by the News Tribune, by the one reporter who actually took me seriously back then, Brandon Stahl, and was reported more widely. But it was a good lesson for me. So what does the city do when confronted with this evidence? They just get the attorney to issue an opinion that says using this maintenance money to build new capital infrastructure satisfies the terms of the agreement. They just said it did. And that was that. And I trace all of Spirit Mountain's, the 17 years of controversy that have ensued back to that moment when the board voted to gut their capital maintenance budget and use it to build something new. Because Spirit Mountain's troubles, oh look at, you can see McDonald's over there floating in the sky. If anybody's wondering, so that's the Boundary Avenue exit. And that McDonald's is in Proctor, right off the interstate. So Spirit Mountain's underlying problem is it's too big. They have too much maintenance, too much infrastructure, and over time, they're unable to keep up with it. And so periodically, they run out of money and require bailouts. The city has never addressed the issue from that angle. The city's solution, inevitably, has always been to build more, and then in the hopes of attracting more business, and then making the ski hill self-sustaining with more business. But it's a never-ending cycle. They build more things and then create more maintenance needs. And it just never ends. They put in a $6 million water line. That was also part of Renee Matson's genius thoughts. That was supposed to like save the ski hill hundreds of thousands a year. It never saved them anything. And they built the Alpine Coaster, and they put in a brand new Nordic ski center at the bottom of the hill, and they built a new $7 million chalet, and they put in new lighting and new snowmaking to service the Nordic Center, and they built new things, new this and new that, and they're still doing it. They just built a brand new ski lift, $3.3 million or something. And for a while after these new things get built, it's great. And maybe they do attract more people. But things age quickly. And soon the capital maintenance costs come creeping up again. Oh, okay. I should say this right here is Old Skyline Parkway. It used to cross directly across where the ski hill is now. If you walk this way a little ways, we'll be right at the ski runs. I'm not going to do that. So the underlying strategy, which I believe creates all the problems, began in 2008 when they took that capital maintenance budget and used it to build something new. And that'll never change, I don't think. That strategy, quote unquote strategy. Like right now, they got, a couple years ago, they got the state legislature to grant them $13 million to refurbish things on the hill. And the city and Spirit Mountain are supposed to match that with $13 million of their own. The new ski lift was paid out of that money. But I mean, if Spirit Mountain can't make the payments for its share, 6.5, the city's ultimately responsible. The city owns this. The city is the entity that issues the bonds and signs on a dotted line. So whether Spirit Mountain is able to hold up their part of that bargain or not, the city is ultimately responsible for paying it. And I should note, while Renee Matson was running this place, everybody, the story, the belief was that Spirit Mountain had never been doing so well. Absolutely fantastic. When in reality, she was habitually overspending every single year. And she kept coming back to the city council for increases in their line of credit. Started out at $200,000 or $300,000 line of credit. By the time she left, it was at $1.2 million. Completely maxed out. And then she leaves. Goes take a different job somewhere. And the new executive director comes in, Brandy Ream. No clue about any of this. And she struggled for several years against very high odds that she had come into. And then she eventually left. And then they had a a task force and a bunch of talking and meeting. And then the narrative is that it's all because of Brandy Ream. No, it's all because of Renee Matson. And the underlying, even more than that, the underlying political climate that allows these kind of decisions to be made is the real culprit. Renee just embodied that. Oh look, I think we made it up to a parking lot. Yeah, that was funny. Renee Matson moves on to a new job. And even at that time, everybody thought she was doing such a fantastic job. Just gushing with praise. And it was at that time that I published an article about that ever expanding line of credit problem. And people were very taken aback. Very surprised. Some got angry, although most just were like, we're surprised, but it certainly can't be Renee's fault for not telling us this, and then bailing out of the job right before it becomes known. Certainly can't be her fault. And that's kind of been my relation to Spirit Mountain and the city ever since then. I point out issues and they're pretty much ignored. Nobody ever accepts that there's too much stuff here. They just build more. Anyway, I told you I had a lot to say about Spirit Mountain, and I think you've heard a lot. So we'll just wrap it up here. See Skyline, traffic going by on Skyline there. Park number 3, Spirit Mountain Recreation Area. Thanks for watching.